At first glance, you may be forgiven for thinking that this is a Realme 5i, as it features the same sunshine finish at the back with matte texture and grooves that give great grip and is resistant to fingerprints. But you will notice the new red colorway, which looks amazing and even better in person, may I add, as well as a slight difference in camera setup. That's because this is actually the new Realme C3. This is Sandeep from RevAtlas. Don't forget to hit the subscribe button, but now let's take a look at the review of the Realme C3. The C3 uses the same base design as the 5i and the dimensions are practically the same, and so is the weight, as the phone gets a 5000 mAh battery, which is required as the screen size has also gone up to 6.5 inches compared to 6.1 on the C2. The back panel is excellent, as we noted on the 5i as well, and when we are dealing with plastic, I'd rather have a panel like this which offers some functionality and grip over just trying to make it look like glass and getting a surface that is easily scratched. It feels quite easy to handle despite the large footprint, and part of the reason for that are the tapered sides, which also have chiseled edges that look great, particularly for a device in this segment. Another reason is the 20:9 aspect ratio of the display, which makes the phone narrower and easier to grip. There's also a frozen blue color if you prefer that, but to be honest, I would go for red, especially since it highlights the sunrise effect even better. The phone is also splash resistant, by the way. At the front is a 6.5-inch 720p IPS panel with Gorilla Glass 3 on top, and we're happy to see this segment getting larger screens, as it definitely is something that most first-time smartphone buyers, which comprises of the bulk of users in this segment, will want on their smartphone, as it is generally their only tool for content consumption as well. It's a good display in terms of colors and sharpness, and the overall quality is good too. But I did have an issue in terms of outdoor visibility, where under direct sunlight, it does take a hit owing to low brightness and a very reflective screen. Removing the glossy plastic screen protector does help, but only just a bit. The C3 comes with Android 10 out of the box with Realme UI 1.0 and is the first Realme phone to come preloaded with Realme UI. Hereafter, every new device from the brand will follow suit. The UI is slick and minimalistic, which ensures smooth functioning while not skimping out on features or functionality. It's powered by a MediaTek Helio G70 chipset and is the first smartphone in the world to be powered by it. Performance is surprisingly good and, dare I say, better than even the Realme 5 series, and this is great especially for gaming enthusiasts who have been wanting to flex the gaming skills but unable to do so at this price segment, as the SoCs aren't generally powerful enough for proper gaming. G70, like the G90T, is meant to enhance your gaming, and in our experience it plays really well. There's support for single band 802.11n Wi-Fi, and you have a triple card slot with 2 nano SIM and 1 microSD card slot. You can get the phone in either 3 or 4 GB RAM, as well as 32 and 64 GB of corresponding storage capacities. The speaker is a mono bottom firing unit, which isn't too great. It's not very loud and quality is decent at best. The headphone jack experience is better, but again, nothing to brag about. While there's good bass, the clarity seems lacking, and like there's a filter between you and your listening experience. Think of it as listening to a speaker blast at full volume, but there's a very thin door or screen between you and the speaker. The camera setup consists of a primary 12MP f1.8 1x2.8 inch sensor with 1.25 micron pixel size, along with a 2MP 1x5 inch portrait sensor with f2.4 aperture and 1.75 micron pixel size. At the front, you get a 5MP f2.4 selfie camera as well, that's housed within the notch. Camera quality is decent but not too great, and it has the usual flaws that we see in a smartphone in this price segment, particularly in terms of the over sharpening as well as excessive color. The dynamic range is also not that great, but if you actually turn on Chroma Boost option, it improves the dynamic range along with giving you more saturation as well. So you may have to dial down the saturation at a later point, but at least you get better dynamic range. There is Camera 2 API support out of the box, but then again, being a MediaTek chipset, the development for this particular smartphone in terms of the Google camera may not be all that fast, and you may have to wait a bit before a Gcam version comes out for this, but with that, hopefully you will get much better photos itself. The phone charges over micro USB and at a max of 5 volts 2 ampere, and a full charge takes around 3 hours. Provides 2 days of solid battery life even if you're a fairly heavy user, and really heavy users get a full day of use with plenty of battery to spare. In essence, Realme have taken what has worked for them with the 5 series, including the 5, 5S and 5i, and brought down some of the highlights down the price ladder. Of course, you don't get the exact same experience in terms of cameras like the Realme 5i, But the rest of it, the design, the battery life, the screen, etc. are identical, and the performance is actually better than the Realme 5i even, I would say. So for an asking price of Rs 6,999, if cameras aren't really your priority, then the Realme C3 makes more sense than even the Realme 5i. That's probably another reason why Realme changed the base 3GB variant to the 4GB variant by default for the Realme 5i at a price point of 8,999. So if you're actually thinking of going for the 3GB variant, the C3 might make more sense. But if you're actually planning to go for the 4GB variant, then I think it makes more sense to pay the 1,000 rupees extra and get the Realme 5i itself. Thanks for watching this video. Please don't forget to hit the subscribe button. See you again in the next one.